What's up, everybody? KO4FSZ here. I had a lot of questions about how I decide what toroids and winding patterns I use for my antennas. So after considering how to do this, I decided to come up with this video. And here's what I've come up with. Alright, so you'll see that I got 5 different toroids here. An FT243, 240-43 with a 2 and 14 winding pattern with the crossover. An FT140-43 with the 3 and 21 no crossover. A double stack of FT140-43s with the 2 and 14 no crossover. I can't remember this part number, but this is a 3 and 21 winding pattern with no crossover, and here's that same toroid with a 2 and 14 with no crossover. Okay, these are rated at 100 watt. From what I understand, what I've read, these will handle 100 watt single sideband without a problem. This one right here, a single FT140-43. I'm kind of mixed on this one. Everywhere that I read, depending on who you talk to, some people say they only handle 50 watts single sideband, some people say 80, some people say 100. I have found that these will handle 100 watt sideband and about 30 watts FT8 max. Good little toroids. They don't get too hot. If you run them for a really long time, of course it's going to get warm. If you run it on a non-resonant wire, yes, it's going to get warm. But several people have an antenna with this in it. They're running 100 watt sideband, no complaints. This double stack will definitely handle the 100 watt sideband, probably close to 150 sideband, and roughly 50 watts FT8. This FT240-43 will handle about 150 watt sideband, 60 watts FT8 without a problem. I do it all the time. Now, you'll see my little fancy wire that I made up here that's connected to this toroid. Alright, now here's what I do. This is how I determine what winding patterns and what toroids I want to use in my antennas. Okay, let me spin you over to my screen here. Alright, you'll see that this antenna, or excuse me, this toroid, you're a little twisted here, guys, I apologize. The lowest point is on 40 meters at 1 to 1.6, and the highest point is on 17 meters at 2.6. Okay, and then it comes back down to on 10 slightly to 2.3 or 2.5, excuse me, I read that wrong. Okay, that is the bigger of the, that's the toroid with the part number I can't remember right offhand, with the 3 and 21 winding pattern. Okay, now let me disconnect this, and I am going to hook up that same toroid, but with the 2 and 14 winding pattern. Providing my wires cooperate with me. Okay. Let's sweep this. Now you'll see that it went slightly down on 40 and drastically came down on 10. Now 15 or 17, excuse me, went up. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Because now, granted, this antenna is not going to be made for 17 meters, but with 20 being this high and 15 being this high, and even 12, if you try to operate on any of those, that toroid is going to heat up really, really fast. Now, I am using a 2500 or 2.5k ohm resistor, simulating the length of wire, 65 feet of wire, roughly. Simulating that wire. That's what that 2.5k ohm resistor is doing. So this right here is imagining that there is 65 feet of wire on there. With those high SWRs on this core, without, running power through it, okay? Granted, the wire is going to it's going to bring that SWR down, but it's going to heat that toroid up still, okay? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I didn't like it on the other toroid like this. Now, let me come over to the single FT140-43 mixture toroid. With the 3 and 21 winding. Now you'll see, sweep this again. Okay. There we go. That's better. That's what it's supposed to do. Now you will see that with this single toroid, everything is below 1 to 1.9 everywhere. Okay, I like that. I like the way that looks. Okay, now this toroid will handle, I'm going to tell you, it will handle, in my experience, not everybody's experience, but my experience, this toroid will handle 100 watt sideband. Okay. I like the way that looks. The highest SWR we have right now on this toroid is 1 to 1.8 on 17 meters. Alright. Now, let me disconnect that one, and we'll hook up the double stack toroid of the 140-43 mixture. Mind you, I have my capacitor across these, across my connector, my alligator clips. That is to simulate what this is going to actually look like with the wire on the antenna. Okay, I'm trying to simulate exactly what it'll look like with the wire on the antenna, or relatively close to it anyway. Alright, now we got that one hooked up. Let's sweep it. See how that all came down, guys? Now don't get me wrong, 10 meters stayed the same, roughly. It came down just a hair. Everything else came down slightly. 40 meters stayed about the same. The highest SWR we have right now is on 17 meters again. Like I said, well, no, excuse me, on 10 meters. 1 to 1.6. 17 is roughly close. It's really, really close. But definitely a better usable option. This one will handle about 150 watt single sideband without a problem. I would say you could probably run roughly 60 watt FT8 through this one, and CW. not have any issues. I like the way this looks. I like the way this looks. Alright, now let's disconnect that one and go to the monster. I'm sorry guys, I don't have any of the 52 mixture Torroids that I use in my higher power antennas wound right now, and I apologize for that. I don't have any glued together to test, and I apologize for that. I will do another video on that later on when I get a chance. Right now I'm trying to knock out a few things today because it's supposed to storm here all afternoon, and I just want to knock out what I can out in my building today. Alright, here is the FT24043 that I use in the 150 watt antennas, the tactical end fed, and the one that I make in the plastic enclosure. Let's sweep this one. Uh-oh. Oh, never mind. I thought I forgot to hook up the capacitor. Never mind. Alright, you will see, once again, as usual, the highest SWR is on 17 meters. As usual, that's normal because these aren't designed for 17 meters. This antenna is not made for 17. Came down on 10, 1 to 1.2. Even on 12, 15 is 1 to 1.5. 17 is 1 to 1.8. 20, 1 to 1.7. And on 40, we are at, where did it go? At 72.27, and we're at 1 to 1.3, and at 7 megahertz, we're at 1 to 1.2. Okay, let me re-sweep this. I don't like what it did right there. There we go. Sometimes my VNA likes to mess with my emotions a little bit. Sometimes, if I click sweep too many times, the software decides to crash. It does that just to aggravate me, especially when I'm outside testing an antenna 100 feet away from my building. But you guys will see that this got a nice little sweep to it. Everything is below 2. Everything looks nice. I like the way that looks. Now, guys, spin my camera back over here. And I dropped you. Awesome. Hope you guys didn't get dizzy from that. This mount is not the best. Alright, so that being said, these are the Torroids that I ordered to use in the hiker. That being said, I don't like the way they look. Granted, they will handle the power. I don't like the way they look. These things have been sitting in my drawer for a while, and they will probably never get used. I will most likely end up taking these to a ham fest, or putting them on eBay, or might make some chokes out of them. I don't know. I use this one in my 80 watt tactical infid. This is the configuration that I use in the hiker. This stack of Torroids is a lot lighter than this one. I like the way this one looks on the VNA better. I like this configuration better. This is what I go with. Like I said earlier, I use this one in the 150 watt tactical infid half wave, and I use it in the one with the plastic enclosure. I also use this for the 17 meter infid half wave that I build. So that being said, you guys are here to witness my experiment in real time. You guys got to see what was going on my screen while I was switching these toroids out. So yeah, we're gonna stick with using these ones on the hiker. I like the way it looks better. I actually like the way it looks when I fully hang the antenna up and trim it, tune it, all that stuff. Each one of them I test and tune individually. So there's my experiment, guys. You got to see an explanation of what I do and how I, what I do to make these antennas work great for you guys. Hope you enjoyed my video, and hope you guys are having an awesome Friday. 73 from KO4 FSZ.